My name is Nurul Afika, and I'm just an ordinary college student. At that time, my life followed a straightforward routine: attend lectures, complete assignments, and occasionally engage in late-night study sessions. Alongside me, my roommate and I inhabited a snug apartment conveniently located near our campus. This cozy haven provided us with the perfect ambience to confront the academic hurdles that regularly peppered our lives. However, on one particular evening, our peaceful existence was about to be shattered by an unforeseen and harrowing turn of events. It was an unremarkable evening, like any other, and my roommate and I had decided to call it a night after an exhausting study session. As we went about our pre-sleep rituals, we remained blissfully unaware of the calamity that was unfolding just outside our apartment window. Little did we know, the tranquility that had enveloped us for so long was about to be disrupted in a way we could never have imagined. Nestled within the heart of our college town, our apartment was a sanctuary of familiarity. The walls of our living room were adorned with posters, capturing moments from our favorite music concerts and travel adventures. An assortment of mismatched throw pillows and cozy blankets adorned our shared couch, where we often spent hours discussing the complexities of our academic courses, offering each other comfort during challenging times. The shared bookshelf, too, stood as a testament to our shared intellectual pursuits, crammed with textbooks, novels, and personal mementos. In the evenings, the apartment glowed with soft, warm lighting that created a sense of serenity, a stark contrast to the bustling campus life we had grown accustomed to. Our apartment was not just a place to sleep and study, it was a haven where our dreams and ambitions flourished. We had spent countless hours nurturing our hopes and aspirations within those walls, feeding off each other's energy and motivation. Our bond was more than just that of roommates. We were confidants, allies in our pursuit of knowledge, and a source of unwavering support. As we prepared for bed on that life-altering evening, the resonance of our shared laughter and whispered conversations still lingered in the air. It was an ordinary routine, yet it was these simple moments of connection that infused our lives with warmth and meaning. With our heads resting on our respective pillows, we were oblivious to the eerie stillness that had descended upon the night, a stark contrast to the usual hum of the city. Outside, a storm was brewing, and nature was preparing to unleash its fury upon our peaceful town. The darkness beyond our window concealed the ominous clouds that had gathered, pregnant with the promise of rain and thunder. But we remained blissfully unaware, cocooned in the comfort of our shared space. It was as we succumbed to the embrace of sleep that the first clap of thunder shattered the silence. In an instant, our lives were catapulted into chaos. The once familiar surroundings of our apartment were plunged into darkness as the power failed, and the terrifying symphony of wind and rain raged on. As we huddled together in the pitch-black room, the realization struck us: we were no longer the guardians of our own destiny. Our ordinary lives had transformed into a tale of survival. What lay ahead, beyond the safety of our apartment, remained uncertain. Our once tranquil existence had been obliterated by the tempest outside, leaving us to grapple with a new reality, one where our academic challenges were replaced by the ultimate test of our courage and resilience. Our shared laughter and whispered conversations had now been replaced by the howling winds and the sound of rain drumming against our window, a relentless reminder of the forces of nature that we could not control. In that moment, as we clung to each other in the darkness, we realized that life's most profound changes often come unannounced, and it is in our ability to adapt and support each other that we find the strength to face the storms that life throws our way. This unexpected ordeal was a reminder that our journey as college students was more than just lectures and assignments. It was a lesson in resilience, unity, and the unpredictable nature of life itself. The serene cloak of night was abruptly torn asunder by a cacophony of disconcerting sounds that seemed to materialize from the enigmatic abyss beyond our window. At the outset, we nonchalantly dismissed these auditory intrusions, attributing them to the nocturnal prattle of avian night owls or the whimsical caresses of the capricious wind. Yet, it wasn't long before the benign trill of night gave way to an unsettling transformation. Gradually, the innocent nocturnal whispers metamorphosed into ominous, resonant voices that resonated through the stillness of the night. Their chilling utterances held an eerie, portentous quality that ignited unease within our hearts. The unsettling ambience was exacerbated by a disquieting scratching sound, akin to the grating of sharpened nails against a sinister, unseen blackboard, which sent harrowing shivers coursing down our collective spines. A palpable sense of disquiet now enveloped us, and as a growing sense of dread washed over our huddled group, we determined it was time to confront the source of this sinister symphony. Armed with beams of piercing white light emanating from our flashlights, we cautiously made our way toward the source of the haunting commotion, our hearts synchronously pounding to the rhythm of apprehension. Each step we took was tentative, as if we ventured into the realm of the unknown, an exploration of the mysterious disturbances that had invaded our once tranquil night. As we inched closer to the window, the chorus of ominous voices grew louder, and their sinister undertones became more evident. The words they spoke were indecipherable, their meaning cloaked in a cryptic veil of the uncanny. The scratching, too, intensified, as if some malevolent force was etching a dark message into the very fabric of our reality. With our breaths shallow and our nerves taut, we reached the window and peered into the abyss beyond. What met our eyes was a sight that defied rational explanation. A spectral, ethereal mist hung in the air, swirling and coalescing like a sinister dance of phantoms. Shadows shifted and writhed in the gloom, and the voices, no longer whispers but ominous declarations, filled the night. The source of the scratching emerged before us, a gnarled, shadowy hand, spectral fingers outstretched, etching symbols and glyphs into the glass. Each mark seemed to resonate with malevolence, an arcane incantation that defied comprehension. As we watched in horror, the symbols seemed to pulse with a life of their own, as if they held the key to some eldritch secret. We recoiled in terror, but the voices and the scratching persisted, as if challenging our presence, daring us to delve further into this realm of the unknown. It was a nightmarish tableau, an unsettling fusion of the supernatural and the mundane, and we found ourselves teetering on the precipice of understanding, unable to retreat and equally unable to comprehend the sinister forces at play. In that chilling moment, our world had become a place of whispered secrets and eerie incantations, a night that would forever be etched in our memory. As we stood there, facing the unfathomable, we could only wonder whether we had unwittingly trespassed into a realm where the boundaries between reality and the supernatural had blurred, leaving us in a realm of disturbing uncertainty. As we cautiously peered through the window, the dread that had been lurking in the corners of our minds swiftly became a chilling reality. In the obscurity of the night, a shrouded figure emerged, swathed in tattered rags that barely clung to its emaciated frame. The disarray of its hair concealed its countenance, save for two eerie eyes that emanated an uncanny luminescence, almost as if they possessed the power to pierce through the veil of darkness itself. The unsettling presence of this entity unfolded as it ventured amidst the shadows, its sinister purpose soon revealed in a spine-chilling manner. With a blood-curdling howl that resonated through the stillness of the night, it commenced a grotesque scavenger hunt among the refuse-filled trash cans. Our hearts raced as it reached into the bins, its claw-like fingers probing for a particular and macabre prize, improperly discarded sanitary pads, each one bearing the ominous stain of human blood. The disconcerting truth soon became apparent: this enigmatic being harbored a malevolent appetite for the blood of virgins, a dark sustenance believed to enable it to maintain its youth while masquerading as a human. Paralyzed by terror, my roommate and I exchanged horrified glances, a silent acknowledgement of the sheer horror that was unfolding before our eyes. Little did we know that the ordeal had only just begun, for the worst was yet to reveal itself. The grotesque ritual came to an abrupt halt as the creature, sensing our presence, ceased its grim search and turned its ghastly visage toward our residence. Its luminous eyes locked onto us, and an icy shiver of terror ran down our spines. A palpable malevolence radiated from the entity as it inexorably advanced toward our apartment building, each step echoing like a dreadful omen. The creature's approach sent shockwaves of fear coursing through our very beings. What manner of unholy entity had we unwittingly crossed paths with on this sinister night? The questions were as numerous as the fear that gripped us. What dark forces had conspired to bring us face to face with a creature so vile and otherworldly that it defied all rational explanation? Our shared dread was palpable, and as we huddled together in the dimly lit room, the harrowing realization struck us that we were trapped in a nightmarish encounter with an entity that seemed to be a relic of the darkest recesses of human folklore. The fear of the unknown, intertwined with a grisly legend that now appeared to have stepped from the shadows into our reality, left us with a profound and unshakable terror that we were powerless to dispel. As the grotesque apparition drew nearer, its intentions remained unclear, yet its malevolence was unmistakable. We braced ourselves for the impending confrontation, for it was apparent that this night would not end without a harrowing reckoning with the entity that had, against all reason, manifested in our lives. In a moment of sheer panic, my roommate and I found ourselves in a harrowing predicament, scrambling frantically to secure every available entry point to our apartment. The looming threat, an entity of unknown origin, seemed to materialize from the depths of our worst nightmares, and our instinctual response was to fortify ourselves within the confines of our sanctuary. Fear clung to us like a suffocating shroud, rendering our breaths shallow and our limbs trembling with trepidation. The palpable dread grew as the entity's monstrous, leaden footsteps reverberated through the staircase, marking its relentless ascent toward our haven. With each menacing thud, the realization dawned upon us that if this malevolent intruder reached our door, all hope would be irrevocably shattered, and our fate sealed in an abyss of unspeakable terror. Desperation drove us to dial the police, our trembling fingers fumbling with the buttons on our phones. As the calls connected, we clung to a fragile thread of hope, fervently praying that the authorities would materialize before it was too late, before the abominable presence on the other side of the door broke through our last line of defense. Each passing second in that dimly lit apartment felt like an eternity, as we listened in the agonizing silence, punctuated only by the entity's relentless footsteps echoing ever nearer. The room seemed to conspire against us, as the very air grew colder with every inch it drew closer, an insidious chill seeping into our very souls. The disconcerting knowledge that our lives hung in the balance intensified the maelstrom of emotions churning within us. We clung to one another, our eyes wide with terror, and our racing hearts a testament to the sheer terror that had gripped our beings. As we awaited salvation, the stark realization of the fragility of human existence engulfed us, contrasting the relative safety and predictability of our everyday lives with this nightmarish intrusion. In the midst of this existential crisis, we found solace in the knowledge that help was on its way, that the men and women in blue would be our shield against the darkness that threatened to consume us. In a moment when despair had almost consumed us entirely, salvation arrived on the back of blaring police sirens, slicing through the stillness of the night. Our belief that our destiny was sealed, that our doom was inevitable, suddenly found itself in question as those ominous wails heralded the arrival of the authorities. With haste and urgency, they breached the threshold of our apartment, a stark contrast to the paralyzing dread that had previously gripped us. As they confronted our disheveled figures, huddled in a corner of the room, our countenances bore witness to the horror that had besieged us, with pallid faces and trembling lips struggling to form the words that might narrate our harrowing ordeal. The officers, though stern and determined in their resolve to uncover the truth, found themselves faced with two young individuals whose capacity for coherent speech had been momentarily forsaken by fear. Questions tumbled from their lips like jagged rocks, each one designed to piece together the enigmatic puzzle of our strange encounters and the malevolent entity that had cast its maleficent shadow upon our lives. Yet, as we stuttered and stammered, grappling to find the right words to describe our abject terror, it became painfully evident that the fear still had us firmly in its grasp. With methodical precision, the police embarked on a meticulous search of our premises, hoping to unearth some tangible evidence that might substantiate our claims. But their efforts yielded nothing. No signs of forced entry, no cryptic footprints or sinister residue, nothing that could attest to the malevolent presence we had endured. Our apartment stood devoid of clues, a realm of apparent normalcy, as if the ordeal we described had never transpired. The officers, perhaps driven by their own skepticism or a pragmatic desire to restore our shaken nerves, began to offer alternative explanations. They attributed our harrowing encounter to a blend of fevered imagination, the fatigue of late-night study sessions, and the inexorable weight of academic stress that often bore down upon students. This conclusion, despite its ostensibly logical foundation, did little to console us, for my roommate and I both knew that what we had faced transcended mere apparitions of an overactive mind. The memory of the Hantu Kum-Kum, that sinister presence that had haunted us, still lingers, a specter that refuses to be exorcised from the dark corners of our consciousness. It had visited us, a malevolence from the depths of folklore and legend, whose chilling reality we had come face to face with. The officers might have attributed our experience to the intangible realm of dreams and stress, but we who had stared into the eyes of that dread entity knew that it was all too real. Its shadow remains etched in the contours of our souls, an indelible reminder that some horrors are too hauntingly tangible to be explained away by mere rationality. As the sirens faded into the distance, leaving us alone with our silent torment, we clung to the belief that, although the authorities had provided no solace, the truth of our encounter would forever be etched in the depths of our beings. In our hearts, we knew that the Hantu Kum-Kum was more than a product of a stressed mind, it was a sinister presence that had, however briefly, become an unwelcome tenant in our lives. Its malevolence would forever bind my roommate and me, two souls forever scarred by an encounter with the inexplicable.